Alright, it is playoff time at the Shanghai Major. I'm going to cut the waffle and I'm going to go through my playoffs Pickems as smoothly as I can. I've avoided watching any other content around Pickems, so they're just purely mine, what I'm thinking, and they're not going to have any external influence. You can see here, just to do the recap, I field opening stage. We got 4 of the 5. We're blaming Fnatic. They lost to Rare Atom, really let us down. Along with the likes of Cloud9 and Virtus Pro feeling to get through. 4 out of 5 is a tough one to stomach with how everything else is gone. Elimination stage, you can see, went so much better for me. I actually ended this with 7 of 10. Obviously, you see both 3-0s were correct, 4 of the 6 out of advancing were correct, and then I got 1 of the 0-3s correct too, which is nice. So, first of all, let me know in the comments down below if you're still on the run for a diamond coin, and if you are, I think you should be following my picks. Now, I'm going to go from the bottom of the bracket upwards. FaZe versus Vitality. Going to be a banger of a match. It always lives up to it. But the thing here is, FaZe looked a little bit shaky. They might ramp up for playoffs. Vitality, looking good, but not as good as I think other people think they're going to do through the playoff run. Ultimately, I think Vitality are going to come out on top just because FaZe have looked so iffy. I think that's what's going to happen. The game that I think is probably going to be the closest, expected to go to the third map, is G2 and Heroic. Heroic have been in surprisingly good form. They've been showing up. G2, though, have this hallmark of making a run, NiKo winning a major finally before leaving the G2 squad. I've got G2 beating Heroic here. And then that sets up a lovely semi-final between G2 and Vitality. Team Spirit and Team Liquid. Personally, I like both these rosters. I like what they're doing with CS. I like the projects. I like what's been happening. Liquid, for me, there's just been this continued conversation around them maybe not looking 100%, being heavily reliant on Yukinder, not having a horrible performance to be able to compete. I know on the flip side, Team Spirit, you have that conversation around Dunk. You need him to be popping off to be able to qualify. I think as a team, Team Spirit have enough in the tank to get by Liquid here and advance into the semi-finals. Now, this is where the agenda starts, and I haven't watched anyone else's, but I can assume Launders is on a very similar path to me here, that I have Mongols beating Mouse again. Now, if you don't remember, the Mongols did meet Mouse 16-13 in a best of 1. Now, Mongols, obviously, they went 3-0 here, they went unbeaten. They beat Rare Atom 13-2, absolutely ruined them. They beat MIBR 13-6, who ended up in a 2-2 game for elimination stage, so I think that adds more weight to it now. And then they played Gamer Legion. This is the best of 3, was probably a little bit lucky for them, but even with it being lucky, they dominated the game. If we look at the elimination stage, obviously Mongols kicked it off against G2. I predicted that they'd be able to upset G2 in a best of 1, and they did. I then also said that they'd have enough to get through the tank and beat a team like Mouse in a best of 1, and thankfully they managed to do that in overtime. Then here, Heroic, as I said, Heroic had a really sort of uptick here at this event. They've been looking good. Heroic won first map. Mongols looked a little bit out of it. They looked like they didn't have it in the tank. Then on Anubis, this was an insane map. One of the best maps of Anubis I think we've ever seen. They come out on top, and then they control Ancient, smooth. They show that they can win a best of 3 on stage against, let's say, a top 10 team in the world. Okay? Just with that in mind, when we get to playoffs, just to put these back in, I have Mongols beating Mouse, okay? That gets us to the semi-finals. What I think is going to happen. I'm all in on the Mongols agenda. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. I have Mongols beating Spirit here. I think this is actually a matchup that, with the firepower that Mongols have and the inconsistency that Spirit have, I think whether this was Spirit or Team Liquid, Mongols can win that series, and there's a chance they can win it 2-0. I think the most interesting conversation is this lower bracket, if I'm honest. This lower bracket has a potential to have a Heroic FaZe like semi-final, like just with upsets coming out. But I think G2 Vitality is the most obvious one. That's what we've been on track for. I think some people default to saying Vitality here because you look at the core of that roster. But there are problems internally. Like the stuff around Sphinx, like he's not enjoying it. He's having problems with the team. The only person we can pin that with is Apex, which is the in-game leader. That's not going to be looking good. I say NiKo, Mobs, and Monacy. If Monacy is turning up, which he should click in for the stage, I have G2 taking this, and this sets up a Mongols versus G2 Grand Final for the Shanghai Major, and this is one that could be a 2-0 blowout either way, depending on how they show up on the final. G2, obviously, you look at it, you got Mobs, you got Monacy, and you have NiKo. NiKo's on the hunt for his first major ever. I think you could argue this is, although this is possibly the best playoff bracket we've had in the last couple of years, it might also be his best chance to go and do something. Snacks, in-game leading, feeling more comfortable, he's got that potential as well. And Hunter, if Hunter just shows up and does what he needs to do, I think that's why you look at G2 as a team that can make the final. But I'm still all in on Mongols. I think for Launders, I assume he's put Mongols to win the event. He's on his racism train for a team that's got 5 players from the same nation. I think the story's just there for them. I predicted it before the event started. I said I think Mongols have the potential to go and win this event. Like, there is a world they can do it. I think we're in that world, being completely honest. I'm saving this. This is my picks. As I say, I can't get diamond coin anymore. I'm one away from being able to get gold, and gold's what's going to cap me off, and that'll mark 4 gold coins in a row for me, which is unfortunate. But I genuinely think this is how the bracket's going to go. We're probably going to get one upset in there, whether that's Liquid upset Spirit, whether that's Fia's managed to topple Vitality. Those are the ones I look at upset-wise. But overall, Mongols are winning the Shanghai Major. I'm going to end it there. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.